I choose to give this title Design Beyond Shape because, of course, like design is a kind of fascinating discipline. I think cars, or whatever objects, like never really leave people very indifferent. And, but there's probably something behind, and that's probably what we could explore. Don't expect me to come up with a finished solution, but I am of the conviction that actually when it comes to future mobility, this is what we actually do every day in our business, and especially me coming to BMW I. We believe like future mobility is not about like the answer of the car industry, but also the joint force of like many disciplines. We have been talking about urbanization with you, James, or like many other topics we've been talking with you, Raphael, about like robotics. And I think in the future all these things are gonna merge together, and that's actually quite interesting to basically group all these very different disciplines together. So of course, what people tend to know about car design is, of course, as you see, that's a kind of picture of what is my desk. Actually, my desk is even more messy than this one. This is a more organized picture already. But basically, like, there's a lot of things, there's a lot of input, of course. As a person, I actually like to explore a little bit beyond the boundaries. That's also the topic tonight. And I like to dig, after 20 years being a car designer, probably a little behind the first glance of design. I, of course, need to give you a bit of a crash course about what is car design. Some people may think in the room that cars are designed by computers. Huh? Why do we need designers? After all, but actually, this is quite still a traditional job. You start with a pencil, you still start with a white piece of paper. Of course, there's a lot of craftsmanship going into the game. We do some clay models. Of course, you see on the picture probably different things, okay? Sketches, these are funny enough, like really crazy sketches, but you have to start that far sometimes. Put some wheels, so it's a car. You can do, of course, like some clay models, like full size, for example. This actually happens like for many years, so it's quite a whole discipline. We deal also with computers, but we still have to give computer a couple of instructions. They don't think yet alone. Probably one day they will, but not yet. So you see, like, it's an interesting process. That takes a bit of time. We have to think a few years in advance about what should be the car looking like. And the question in the room would be, why are we doing that? Small sketch. Can still sketch after 20 years. The interesting thing is, cars are a very special product because everyone has an opinion about cars. And you see these two guys, like one is saying, I love, I hate. It's a little bit like that. If I click the next picture, did you ever met someone that hates washing machine? Never. But you always find some people who say, I love cars, I hate them. So that means there are some emotions into the whole game. And this is crucial when it comes also to future mobility. That is extremely important. Because you cannot come, like, with a kind of like future mobility, totally dry kind of robotic thing, with all due respect. You have like some emotion, and that's why you try to bring also. You bring an eye, you bring also some humanity into that. And cars are about that also. There's some sexiness into it. And then to give you a short overview about what I'm doing is, of course, or what we're doing, is I made these pictures by purpose, like really small. These are the I cars. We have a mega city car, we have a sports car. Basically what stays behind is like, if we want to break the chain and make the change when it comes to sustainable mobility or sustainable design and future mobility, you have to do and make this product sexy. You have to also probably look a little bit deeper behind, let's say, the shape, behind the form, and probably raise some questions that were never really raised before. And this is all about like research and Forschung, like in Deutsch then in that case. But this is what I actually believe is necessary and paramount. And this is also something that we've been learning while we were processing in the development of these two cars. That has been quite quick. That took us about like 4 to 5 years. And we've been learning a lot. You have to have the humility to say, no, nothing is a given. Don't take anything for granted, but simply be a researcher. And we've been really doing like research, design research in real time. taking that with a lot of humility, probably doing also some mistakes, and being or having the courage to say we may be wrong, but it is right to be wrong at some point, and simply push the boundaries and travel into a trip which probably never was really done before. Sometimes we compare it. I'm also a real freak about like space conquest and stuff like that back in the 60s, and this kind of never done before. This is typically what we do at BMW i when it comes to future mobility, and not only the car but also the whole ecosystem around that. And again, I want to stress the fact that this picture, future mobility, is not something that we will be able to do alone. We will be doing that with other disciplines. We will probably inspire some other business or disciplines, and this is actually the key. We only deliver a small part on this bigger picture, and this is just the beginning. So if I move on, I come back to the title, and actually saying, okay, you know, like we've been designing this car and they have a shape and you probably know them or saw them already, but what is behind? Can you design actually more, let's say, than the shape? And probably if I'm asked sometime, oh, you've been doing a great design, and I'm saying, actually I didn't, you know, like a lot of other people in my team have been doing that, but actually if I'm probably proud of is to design a sort of culture, a way to think about things. And this is probably the more important thing. This or that. If some people are doing electronics, they're gonna understand quite quickly. Car design is about compromise. You have to do too many compromises. You have to choose either for this or that and all that. But when it comes to future mobility, and especially what we did is say, we cannot continue any longer with that. Probably we should move for this and that, because people are not any longer ready to say, I'm not ready to do this compromise. I want both. I want both of it. I want all of it. And that's probably what drove us, for example, as an idea. That's an old slide that we used quite a lot, saying, okay, BMW, premium cars, you know, boom, Schnell, and luxury, and everything. But you have to combine that with other values. And we had that, of course, sustainability, responsibility. That's what, for example, that a car like the sports car that I've been showing you in the sketchbook, the sports car E8. That's a car that demonstrates that actually you can still have emotion, you can have pleasure in the future, you can see some cool shapes, some aesthetics and stuff like that, yet combined with very low emission, low energy consumption, probably from manufacturing also even less energy needed. So we are in the and logic. People are not any longer ready to say this is this or that. And that's one of the many examples, and probably also trying to achieve more with a lot less. That's also something that, of course, has to reflect into the design, into the shape language, into the character, and this is also paramount. So that's one of the example. Another question was, actually, before we design the shape, before we design the car, could we design the question first? And of course, that may seem to be abstract to you, but before we come to the solution, probably designing the question. And I'll give you an example. Raphael was with this guy here, the robot, and said, you know, wait another 20 years, there will be robots everywhere, you don't have to do anything. So probably, let's see, like I just came very spontaneous manner, like, okay, that's a future question. What if this guy would be sitting, my friend here, would be sitting on the driver's side? Don't have to do anything. This guy is holding the steering wheel. Actually, this guy should be probably, should it be looking like that, or could it be a better system? Could it be simply a computer after all? Does it have to look like a human? Would we have to put some emotion into that? These are like some questions that we could address, and then if someone is driving, or basically at some day driving a car, what would I be then doing as a passenger? What are the opportunities I could be then having while commuting, then being a passenger? And these are like, again, like some questions or future questions that could arise, and then, of course, directly influencing the design solution. That, of course, that would affect the way we design the interior of a car. That would affect, in many ways, what are you doing while commuting? You will spend an hour or two in a car, probably in a different manner. And that's exactly the challenge that we also face, or the interest is like designing this future question, or in a way, there's no good design without no rules. You need some rules. So probably the rules are likely to be different. This is also another example here in the process of design where that was a different question actually, which was like, what if, let's say, the press, like we stamp a lot of metal in the car industry. What if all that would disappear? And then how would we be creating shape and emotion with other alternative techniques? So that's another example, and many, many more. I will take you also in another aspect that's also interesting. Designing behaviors. This is also something that you can actually do, and here I show you a picture. That's actually the cockpit of a car that we've been doing, or the interior. That's the i3. That's a car designed actually for megacities. And we thought, maybe from the semantic, we should probably do it a bit different. And not for the sake of being different or new. There must be a reason behind that. It's not the what, but it's the why are we doing that. And what was important for us, and as a contribution for also range, like electric cars are very often criticized because they have a very short range and da-da-da, and da-da-da, not practical and expensive, and that, and that, and that. You can, of course, get that much better with the help of a lot of technology. You get better drivetrain, you can optimize, of course, the battery technology, you can optimize aerodynamics and many, many other things. But you call like a lot of solution into technology, which needs, of course, a lot of effort, a lot of time and expense and stuff like that. And probably there's a shortcut where design can actually bring a very significant contribution. And this is through design character, and where we said, what if the solution would lie into people? And what if we would trigger, through design character, now you see this cockpit is quite, let's say, zen and relaxing. What if the character of the design would trigger a totally different behavior while you drive? Then you drive differently, and that gives you the extra range. And then the solution is no longer into technology, but into people, simply. So that's also another level of car design or designing for sustainability that you can address. That's one of the many examples that we do address by designing at BMW i, but that basically shows you a little bit how far we can go. I would like actually to conclude, actually because we talked about emotion, there's a cool film that I would like to show you actually as an interesting conclusion, because at the very end, that's why I'm spending so many hours every day of thinking, at the very end you will see the result just now on this film.
Einstein!
Ah, so exciting. Wow.
Good, good, good.
Oh, look at that mirror.
Oh my
The mirror,
goodness.
do you see that? Oh, there's plenty of room.
¿Está bien cerrado? Sí, ¿no?
That is really good.
It's criminal. That's piggy.
How quiet we're going.
Look at that, it's braking by itself. I can't believe that.
We are in the middle of London and we are causing zero pollution.
Eintritt in den Hyperraum.
Komm, komm, Warpgeschwindigkeit.
Nehmen wir.
War cool.
Look at that. All those people out there living their lives when we're in here living in the future.
That was it. Thank you.